All right, hammers and sickos. That's the focus of tonight's angle. I know it was all hammer and sickos in San Francisco since the arrival of China's dictator, Xi Jinping. Americans desperate to honor and impress him decided to make him feel right at home. Now, that is a flag that represents subjugation, oppression, and persecution. Not just to the Chinese who've fled, but for those who have no way out of China. And for a second, in watching this welcome that Xi received on our soil, I thought that I was watching my old favorite flick from the mid-'80s, Red Dawn. Well, seriously, watching the Biden cabinet, the regime media, these American plutocrats fawn all over Xi, I'm sorry, it's just disgusting. Did they forget that China did what it did during COVID? Not only did they cover up the origins of the virus that killed millions, but also, with brutal efficiency, they locked down hundreds of millions of their own people in their own homes and sprawling apartment complexes. The only thing Chinese citizens could do was to scream on their balconies at night. Think of the 2 million Uyghurs who are languishing in what they call Reeducation Camps, their internment camps. Per Xi's directives, they sit there, tortured by guards, including some of them who've actually escaped, the guards I'm talking about, to tell the world about the rampant human rights abuses that occur.
Did the police officers use electric batons to shock prisoners?
Yeah. Yes, everyone uses different methods.
For years, stories of arbitrary arrests, unspeakable cruelty, and mass internment camps have been trickling out of China's Xinjiang region.
If you want people to confess, you use the electric baton. We would tie 2 electrical wires on the tips and set the wires on their genitals while the person is tied up. The result is better.
Now, apparently, Joe Biden, the press, and the CEOs who paid up to $40,000 to be at a banquet for the dictator, they're not fazed by any of this or by what's been done to the Christians in China, whose churches have been bulldozed on Xi's orders. Is the Google CEO also not concerned about what's happened to Hong Kong CEOs who've been disappeared by China? Or the ones who've been thrown into solitary confinement for years, like Jimmy Lai? All these people, for money, have a convenient case of amnesia because they're so desperate to work on their relationship with China. Business execs want to expand operations, they want to export more American jobs overseas and sell more stuff there. And the Biden ventriloquists, well, they want a beautiful green future with China. That's funny. Of course, this requires improving the U.S.-China relationship. But the truth is, Biden's already compromised, given how much money his son Hunter made there for no discernible talent other than being the then vice president's son. Now, you all remember during the 2020 election, President Biden denied all of the money that was made.
Nothing was unethical. My son has not made money in terms of this thing about, what are you talking about, China.
It took the press years to finally admit that Joe was not telling the truth about that. And why? Because Hunter himself testified that he had, in fact, made a substantial sum of money from Chinese interests. Plus, of course, this had all been confirmed by documents, emails, and so forth found on Hunter's laptop, which the press claimed was Russian disinformation, again, conveniently during the campaign. So when someone repeatedly reveals himself through his bad actions, don't make excuses for him. Believe what he does. Do not believe what he says. But despite all that we know about what China's done in supporting Russia, as I was talking to with Trace, or stealing our intellectual property, dumping cheap products here, committing genocide, Biden thinks Xi is a straight arrow.
To host you in the United States is a great honor. and a pleasure. There is no substitute to face-to-face discussions. I've always found our discussions straightforward and frank, and I've always appreciated them.
I think he meant to say the business that they sent his son, well, that was always appreciated. All right, let's be candid here. This is a really sad day for those of us who remember when America stood for freedom, when American leaders did not grovel before dictators, when the world saw us that America was rising. Not one country that was stumbling toward a future with a dictator like Xi, someone becoming almost Xi's puppet. But this is what our leaders want. And unless we get new leaders in 2024, there's no reason tonight to believe things are not going to get even worse. And that's The Angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.